No longer enslaved people, leading and living as sons and heirs. There's a moment in every leader's life when the grind gets heavy. The vision is clear, the strategy is in motion, but inside, something feels off. You're showing up, doing the work, serving your people, but somewhere under the surface, there's that quiet voice whispering, "Do I belong here? Am I enough?" That voice doesn't come from truth. It comes from slavery. But Galatians 4:7 kicks the door wide open on that internal tension. So you are no longer a slave, but God's child. And since you are His child, God has made you also an heir. This is the identity shift that changes everything, not just spiritually, but also in life, leadership, and business. Let's unpack it. The inheritance mindset, more than just wealth. Imagine for a second someone calls you up and says, "Hey, you've been named in a will. You're about to receive something of great value." Instantly, your mind goes to numbers: money, property, stocks, assets. But Paul, in his letter to the Galatians, reframes the very idea of inheritance. He's not talking about material gain. He's talking about something that disrupts your whole way of seeing the world: freedom, identity, and belonging. Paul knew what it meant to work hard, but he also knew what it meant to work for the wrong reasons. That's why this verse strikes at the heart of performance-driven culture. He's not just calling believers out of slavery to the law. He's calling all of us, founders, creators, executives, and team leads, out of the hustle for worth mindset. You're not performing for approval. You're operating from a position of identity. And that identity? It's not entrepreneur, employee, or even Christian. It's a child of God, an heir. This means you already have access to everything that matters: peace, purpose, and legacy. That truth isn't just spiritual, it's tactical. Enslaved people operate from scarcity. Heirs operate from overflow. Enslaved people worry there's not enough time, not enough attention, not enough recognition. They compare, they compete, they burn out. But heirs, they build from abundance. They don't fight for the Father's approval. They move in it. They don't need to dominate the room. They serve it, confident they already belong. Here's where it gets practical. If you're running a team, building a brand, or managing a business, your inner posture will set the tone for everything else. Are you working like a slave, tight-fisted, fearful, and reactive? Or are you leading like a son, generous, secure, open to correction, and rooted in truth? There's a spiritual pattern at play here that mirrors a professional one. Identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as an enslaved person, your leadership will reflect anxiety and control. If you see yourself as an heir, you'll lead with vision and trust. From the office to the table, relational impact. Paul doesn't just shift our view of ourselves, he also flips our perspective on others. The devotion asked a beautiful question. What would change if you saw your fellow believers as brothers and sisters, not competitors or opponents? Let's extend that even further. What would change if you saw your colleagues, clients, even your critics as people God is inviting into the same inheritance? In business, we're conditioned to protect the win. In God's kingdom, we're invited to share it. That changes how you approach conflict. It rewires how you deal with jealousy. It even transforms how you recruit, hire, and build culture. When you remember that everyone has a seat at the table of grace, you lead with honor, not hierarchy. Emotional tension. Are you still living like a slave? Let's not sugarcoat it. There's emotional tension baked into this truth. Because even if you know you're a child of God, you might still feel like a slave. Maybe you're still hustling to earn what Jesus already gave. Maybe your leadership is fueled by fear of being found out. Maybe every win feels temporary, and every failure feels like confirmation of your unworthiness. If that's you, hear this clearly. You're not a servant trying to earn a place in the house. You're a child who belongs there. That truth should drive you to rest, not laziness, but soul-level trust. Rest that says, I can show up boldly because I know whose I am. Rest that fuels innovation, creativity, and endurance. If you lead others, your greatest gift might not be your skill. It might be your spiritual posture. Leaders who know their heirs create cultures of freedom. Professional application. Identity-driven execution. So what does this mean on Monday morning? It means before your next big pitch, you remind yourself, I'm not defined by this outcome. When someone on your team underperforms, you coach with compassion, not contempt. It means you don't spiral when you face rejection and return to the Father's affirmation. It means your goals serve your calling, not the other way around. When you operate as an heir, your strategy sharpens, your vision clears, and your heart stays steady, even in the storms. Final thought, you don't have to earn what's already yours. Let's land this plane with one clear reminder. You're not building a name to be known. You're building from a known name. Galatians 4:7 is more than a feel-good verse. It's a foundational mindset for living, leading, and loving. It invites you to lead your business and your life, not from a place of grasping, but of giving, not from insecurity, but identity. So take a breath. You're not a slave. You're a child. You're an heir. Now lead like it.